Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about work. Let's talk about relationships with our boss. I have a good friend of mine who is having problems with one of his bosses. He works at an animal hospital, and he's worked at animal hospitals for many years. He's a surgery tech, so he helps with surgery when the dogs have to have some sort of surgery, or cats have surgery. He's the one that does the anesthesia and that kind of stuff, while the doctor actually does the cutting. He works with two doctors, the owner of the company, of the animal hospital, and then there's a second doctor. He likes to work with the owner, and they get along fine. He cannot work with the second doctor, which is a problem. It's a major problem, because the second doctor also does surgeries, and he's the only surgery tech. It's a very small animal hospital. They may have another surgery tech, now that I think of it, but they need to be able, the two surgery techs need to be able to work with anyone. I mean, obviously, right? You can't just be stuck with one doctor. And it's like a nurse at a hospital. A nurse has to be able to help more than just one doctor or anybody. You know, it would be weird if you say, well, I can't help you because I don't like you. And he doesn't like this second doctor. What do you do when you have a boss that you don't like? I mean, that's a typical scenario. It can be hard sometimes to just suck it up. And especially when you really, really clash with the other person on personality or ideology. And that's where he's having trouble with this second doctor, is that he doesn't think that she is smart enough. And he doesn't like how she does things. He feels like that he knows more than her. I mean, it's a classic scenario. I've been in this scenario, not that I've worked in an animal hospital, but I know what it's like to feel like you're smarter than your boss. What do you do when you're smarter than your boss? I mean, it's an interesting dilemma. Because on the one hand, maybe you're right and the boss is wrong on whatever issue that you guys are bickering over. Who knows? It is possible that you might be right and they might be wrong. And there are ways that you can point out different ways to move forward. But I think it's important to understand how a chain of hierarchy works. You know, I think it starts with, do you believe that people deserve their positions? As a fundamental belief, do you believe that people are put where they're supposed to be? That their merit, what they know and what they can produce, what they can prove that they can do, their merit shows their worth, shows their value. If you're able to do certain tasks and show me that you're a certain type of employee, then I can put you into a certain position. And you might be management material. Now, my buddy has had this problem with other managers and other bosses. Many others. And other employees. So I recognize right away when he tells me this problem, how he thinks he's smarter than his boss and how he's having problems with one of his bosses and can't work with her and is clashing with her in a major way. I realize that it's him. She may not be as smart as she could be. There's bosses out there that could be smarter. But when you're in a business or in a situation where there is a hierarchy, a chain of command, let's put it that way, a chain of command, it's not that you have to humble yourself into servitude like a slave. It's not that you have to keep your mouth shut in an animal hospital when your boss might be doing something that could be harmful to the pet and you can catch it. No, that's how you get a raise, is to say, oh, hey, wait a minute, don't do that. And then the doctor can say, oh, geez, thanks, God, that would have been bad, huh? Good catching that, There's a raise on your next check or whatever the reward would be. We'll make note of that. Your evaluation will look good this quarter, whatever. But when you're working for a boss, and I've realized this myself, I've had bosses I don't like, that what's on me are two things. One, I have to be able to figure out a way to keep my job, right? I got to keep this goddamn job. And what is that going to take? That may take for me to humble up a little bit, to accept my role and my position within that chain of command, within the hierarchy. But I'm also going to have to remember my hustler instincts and to realize what my motivations are. What is my mission? You're mission driven in anything you do. This is how we achieve goals. We achieve a mission. There's a mission that you have. The goal, it can only be achieved when you go through that mission, the steps, the necessary process. And I realized that in order to accomplish my mission in life, my mission could be having a job, getting that paycheck, moving up the ladder within that organization. Your mission could be multifaceted. But the second thing is that you want to be able to keep in mind that you're there to build relationships. You're at work to build relationships. You may thought that you were there to save pets. I'm talking to my friend. Or to lay bricks, or whatever it is you do. You're there to build relationships. You need to build relationships with your fellow coworkers, with the people that are below you, and the people that are above you. And all these relationships need to be healthy in the respect that information is smoothly transferred from one person to another so people can do their jobs and we can accomplish the mission at hand, which is, in my friend's case, to save the dog that's having surgery, or the cat. So, I offer this advice to him and say, the way that you can get around this tension with this boss that you absolutely hate and you can't stand is to stay mission driven. Now, it doesn't mean that you're a fraud. It doesn't mean that you're a manipulator. It doesn't mean that you are a con man. To be mission driven and to remember that I need to build a relationship and do whatever it takes to keep this relationship going and to have a relationship, to be able to communicate. A relationship is simply me and you being able to communicate. Can we communicate on this or not? Or do I just walk away from you? Right? So if you want to be able to communicate with this woman, with this doctor that you hate, you're going to have to figure out how to humble up, how to suck it up, how to speak up when necessary in a respectful way that she understands. And getting to know somebody also means, or mainly means to me, is how to speak in a way that that person can receive. How can they receive your message? Not all messages can be received the same way. Sometimes when you're talking to a child, you have to change your message. If I'm talking to a bum at a gas station, then I'll change my message again. If I'm talking to an officer of the law or somebody at in a corporate setting, each one of those messages, even if I'm talking about the same topic, each one of those messages has to be delivered in a different way. So you want to be able to build relationships by learning messaging and keeping your mission in mind as your main motivation. And that's how you get through with the shitty boss. So, yes, there is a little bit amount of sucking it up, of keeping your fucking mouth shut. You want to lash out because you think you're so fucking smart. This is like my friend. He thinks he's really smart. He's been in this industry for a long time. And he wants to correct this doctor. If you were so smart, if you're as smart as you thought you were, you would be more successful. If you were as smart as you thought you were, this wouldn't be an issue. You wouldn't be stumped on this. You wouldn't be dreading going to work today on Monday morning, because you know you have to work with that bitch. Because you would have the skills and the tools to deal with people that you don't like. Can you deal closely with somebody that you don't like? Or do you have to just like everybody? If that's the case, this is a personal issue. And this will haunt you at every job that you go to, in every relationship that you're in. It's tough to take the position all the time that I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. I'm stronger, I'm everything better than you. I used to think this way. I used to really think a lot of myself. And on anybody, if I met you, I'd think I was tougher than you, smarter than you, everything. I'm better than you in every way. And it was my ego. And it made it very hard for me to get into the chain of command and to follow orders. You need to be able to play your position, to play your part. Every team, you may think that you're the best on the team and you can play every position on it. You could be the coach, you could be the owner. You might not be a team player if that's the case. You need to be able to play your position and recognize the value of every single person. Because everybody does have a value. And when people have this idea that you don't belong here, you're a fraud, you need to start looking in the mirror. I mean, there are people that are out of place in the workforce, that they might have got a position that they don't belong in, but that is rare. Take it from a boss. I'm a boss. I've owned many, many, many companies, 10, 15 companies. And I've watched employees go through these dynamics. And I've had to pull people aside and say, I know you don't like him. And I know you don't think that that person has value here, but I'm telling you he does, because I hired him and I know both of you, and I know what that person's worth is, just like I know what your worth is. You do your job and you let him do his job. I don't know if anybody's getting this. It's all food for thought. Thanks for watching.